Hello, it's Gary Hewitt here from Microshifting, and I want to talk a little bit today about blame versus responsibility. So I came up with this analogy, and I hope that it explains the concept that I want to get across. So if somebody is standing on your foot, it causes you pain, and you simply say to them, "Excuse me, you're standing on my foot," because nobody stands on your foot without being, because they're choose to. They stand on your foot because they're unaware. So you say, "Excuse me, you're standing on my foot. Could you please move?" And in most circumstances, then people will just, "Oh, I'm sorry," and pick up their foot and move on, and everything's fine. This, however, can happen energetically. Somebody can be, metaphorically standing on your foot with an energetic presence that is causing you pain. And since you're responsible for your feelings and they're responsible for theirs by extension, the challenge comes in when you go, "Excuse me, you're standing on my foot," and the response is, "Quit blaming me." It's like, it's your foot, your problem. And again, we're talking metaphorically. You deal with it, and it's not my fault. And this is where the subtlety between blame and responsibility comes in. And once you realize this pattern, this may be very freeing. It's still very difficult to get out of. When somebody, again, is physically standing on your foot, and you were to say to them, "Excuse me, you're standing on my foot," then they have to take responsibility for the fact that they're standing on your foot and go like, "Oh, this is something I need to do. I need to move so I'm not standing on your foot anymore." As opposed to, not accepting, but believing that is blame. Like, "What do you mean? You're always picking on me." And then, of course, they stomp their feet, and your foot feels that much worse. So responsibility is the act of realizing that, subconsciously you were doing something, and now that you've been made aware of it, can you take responsibility for that and choose a different course of action? And that, like I say, that is from the other person's perspective, that's a very difficult thing to do, because if you're extremely energy aware, then lots of people stand on your foot lots of times, and it can be challenging because the moment you touch them on the shoulder, they go into this blame cycle. So I'm hoping that this helps people realize that you're tapping them on the shoulder in order to get them to realize subconscious behaviors, which they're responsible for, but it doesn't mean that it's their fault. Right? It's not about blame, it's about responsibility. So anyway, I hope that comes through clear. It's been a big shift for me in the last week or so, figuring this one out. And now, of course, this is the microshifting, and one of the things we do here is the magic words. So now we're going to do the magic words on, the feeling that you're being blamed for something when somebody's simply trying to bring to your attention a subconscious behavior that is affecting them. And ultimately, subconscious behaviors are, of course, affecting you as well. You're just not realizing it because it's subconscious behavior. So, on behalf of all willing participants, I will now perform the magic word ceremony on those feelings of blame when somebody brings something to your attention. The magic word ceremony has now been performed on your behalf.